you wrote that this is a company in search of a fresh start. Is shaking up the C-suite the right step forward?
Yeah, I mean, I think Rosalind stepped in at a difficult period of time, a little while ago, and needless to say, it's been a challenging period for the company, and I think at this point, um, probably a refresh here, particularly since the company has embarked on a healthcare strategy, and I think that's probably where we can see more opportunities to find a new voice, a new vision for the company, probably something with more healthcare background, which. Um, I think Ms. Brewer's background was more from retail, and I think where the company is headed towards could benefit from having a greater healthcare experience.
Well, with this reset, this refresh, would you expect that to translate into maybe lowered expectations, lowered guidance to come?
Well, we'll find out soon here as when the company reports their fiscal year end. You have interim CEO Graham Ginger stepping in here to fill that role over the interim while they look for a new CEO. And clearly, I think you saw in their release at the time, they are looking for someone with greater healthcare experience. Uh, you know, um, Ginger Graham does come in with that kind of experience in healthcare. To me, I think it is an opportunity here to kind of reset expectations. Obviously, the retail segment has been struggling, and that's more reflective, I think, of the broader macro environment in retail and the consumer.
Hmm.
And then certainly so, to me, this is probably an opportunity here, and I think most investors probably do expect that to a large extent.
So under Brewer, Walgreens was transitioning from just a retailer to a healthcare company, kind of in the same way that CVS transformed itself into a healthcare company, a vertical company. But when you look at the share price and how they compare, over the past 5 years, CVS has outperformed Walgreens by quite a bit, even as they have both seen declines in their stock price. What has CVS done correctly that Walgreens couldn't execute on?
Well, if I had to pinpoint one thing, I think it is the merger with Aetna. Having the insurance arm, automatically brings you membership. You're able to drive, members through your store network, and I think that has helped to a large extent in terms of prescription growth, foot traffic, et cetera. So, I think it's very synergistic in that way.
Hmm.
I think in terms of the healthcare assets that Walgreens has acquired, if you think about VillageMD, CareCentrix, in that regards, I do think they have moved a little bit faster than CVS, with CVS just more recently acquiring, Oak Street Health and Signify Health. So, but I do think it's the Aetna piece that has really benefited CVS during this period.
Okay, so it's not so much strategy as it is execution and perhaps not thinking big enough. What does the next CEO need to do then to deliver on this strategy shift?
Yeah, I mean, I think the next CEO does have a lot on their plate coming up here, but I do think to a large extent, a lot of the pieces are in place. As I mentioned, right, they have VillageMD, they have also they acquired Summit CityMD, they have CareCentrix, Shields Pharmacy, and I think with the opportunity, without having their own dedicated insurance business, is really to be sort of that agnostic third party, uh, you know, avenue for other health plans that might not be large enough to create their own vertical network, and I think that's something where Walgreens could potentially fill that void. They have this partnership with Blue Shield of California. That's an example where for medium size or certainly larger size plans that don't have the capital, let's say of an Aetna, a United, et cetera, where they can be that sort of virtual vertical network to kind of be kind of a chassis, if you will, to provide a lot of those services, I think.
And Charles, taking a look at the terminal, it looks like we tracked 20 analysts of Walgreens, and just 2 are a buy, and you're one of those 2 with an outperform rating. What is the biggest risk here? What could go wrong in this transition that would potentially cause you to downgrade?
Well, I think in the short term, it's, I think some of the pressure on the shares is, safety of the dividend, which has been a long time support, and I think people are a little bit concerned around that. We aren't so concerned, at least over the near medium term, on that. Longer term, I think it is to your point, to be able to execute, this is not something simple, and I don't think that's it's probably the same boat for many of the players in this space. Um, Creating this network, changing the way consumers view how they access their healthcare, thinking of new ways to deliver care. This whole transformation of where consumers go to receive their healthcare. That's been changing. Ever since even before the pandemic. But I think the pandemic has certainly accelerated how people are thinking of that, and that's really I think the key thing to be able to move on that.